Hey, gamers or developers, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to see why most indie games fail, but in the end, we will also look at some indie games that are better than some AAA games. Let's get into it. I also made a video comparing indie and AAA games, which covered both types. However, this video focuses exclusively on indie games. If you're interested in the previous video, I'll provide a link in the description. Enough about my self-promotion, let's dive into this video. First, only 70% of commercial indie games are considered failures. They don't generate enough revenue. On top of that, based on the same source, only 30% of all games are considered financially successful. But of that slice, only 7% of those games will generate enough revenue to fund a second project. First up, budget constraints. Indie developers often work with limited resources, which means they don't have the massive budgets that AAA studios do. This can lead to some compromises in terms of graphics, polish, and overall production value. You might run into more bugs and glitches. Sometimes they can be pretty frustrating. Did you face any frustrating from an indie game? Marketing power is another big one. Indie games don't have the same marketing budgets as AAA titles. This means less visibility, fewer ads, and sometimes they can just slip under the radar. A fantastic game can be overlooked simply because people don't know it exists. Let's take an example of an indie game that gained a lot of popularity due to its marketing, but the final game was complete trash, more than just trash. I'm sure you've already guessed it. Yes, that was The Day Before. And finally, let's talk about scalability. Indie games can struggle with scalability issues. If an indie game suddenly becomes super popular, the servers might not handle the load, leading to crashes and downtimes. Why not we also understand this with an example? The game Among Us was developed by a small team at Innersloth and initially had a modest player base. However, when the game surged in popularity in 2020, the developers faced significant challenges with server capacity. The sudden influx of millions of players caused frequent server issues and downtimes, forcing the developers to work tirelessly to improve server infrastructure and handle the unexpected demand. So, there you have it. Indie games are fantastic, but they come with their own set of challenges: budget constraints, content limitations, slower updates, less marketing power, smaller communities, and scalability issues. There are many challenges, but these are just the basic problems. There are many more. It's all part of the indie charm. Let's take an overview of some popular indie Steam games. Hades. Developer: Supergiant Games. Description: an action roguelike game where you play as Zegrus, the son of Hades, trying to escape the underworld. Why popular? Known for its engaging gameplay, compelling story, and beautiful art style. It has received numerous awards and has a dedicated fan base. Celeste. Developer: Maddie Makes Games. Description: a platformer where you help Madeline climb Celeste Mountain, facing various challenges and uncovering a touching story. Why popular? Praised for its tight controls, challenging gameplay, and heartfelt narrative. Undertale. Developer: Toby Fox. Description: an RPG where you play as a child who falls into an underground world filled with monsters, offering unique combat and story paths based on player choices. Why popular? Its innovative gameplay, quirky characters, and memorable story have made it a cult classic. These indie games have become incredibly popular, sometimes surpassing the playtime and dedication seen in many AAA titles. They are praised for their innovation, creativity, and the passion that goes into their development. This makes them standout examples of how indie games can compete with, and even outshine, big-budget productions. So, this is enough. I will meet you in next video with more exciting and fun idea.